Welcome back to Closing Shift, the podcast hosted by the hottest trans goth mommy on the East Coast and the funniest clown in the Western Hemisphere. I'm Emmy, that's Mia. Welcome back to the show. This is Friday, September 13th. Wait, Friday the 13th? I didn't know that was happening.
That is wow.
Oh no.
Maybe I should have had my Saw episode prepped for this.
Looks like it's your unlucky day, sailor.
It's like a mix of like people thinking that 13 is a lucky or unlucky number. I've seen it go both ways.
No, you either think it's an unlucky number or you're Taylor Swift. That's the difference.
You either think or you don't think.
You either think or you Swift.
I don't know, any kind of like superstition like that, it's like, I don't know, you probably don't think. I still see people that like are scared of like black cats, and it's like...
Superstition? What's so super about it? Laugh.
I just see people that it's like they still have a thing about black cats, and I'm like, you should turn on your brain from time to time and like think about the world you live in.
Why though? That's so not fun. Why would you want to? Thinking is lame.
That's why I don't do it anymore.
Reject thinking. Embrace dumb.
I wanna go back.
Embrace numb brain.
I want to go all the way back to being a radial organism. I do not want to be bilateral anymore. No hemispheres. Which also, very funny, you said Western Hemisphere. I guess you could technically divide the Earth into East and West hemispheres, but that's not what we do.
That's totally what we do. I just did it.
Just gonna take a quick trip to the East Pole. Also like the idea that if we do split the Earth into East and West hemispheres, that it would happen in the middle of America.
All these people talk about a hemisphere. So what's up? How you all doing? Talk back to us. This is you know what? Moment of silence. This is everyone's time. We'll just leave a minute of blank audio for everyone to tell us how they're doing, so we can just react
it's
after.
Like Blue's Clues.
Yeah. So how are you doing today? Great.
Really?
Anyway, just kidding. We don't give a fuck about how you're doing. How are you doing today?
You know what? I'm doing A-okay, if a little bit tired, because I stayed up later than I had intended to, because I was making an edit that I also didn't intend to make. But I released that this morning.
Is it the one you uploaded to your YouTube channel?
Yeah, because it's too big to just upload straight onto Twitter, because that's all just, it's dumb shit. It would have just like been terrible to upload onto there, but...
Popped up on my homepage.
Yeah, I wanted to do a bit of grinding in Death Stranding off stream because it takes absolutely fucking forever to get any of the resources to do anything in that game now, because there's not any players in it anymore, or at least hardly any players compared to release, meaning that large infrastructure tasks that normally on release would have been split up amongst, several thousand players all working on one thing, now comes down to only me being the one putting resources into it. So it takes hours and hours to make that kind of progress. And so I wanted to do some of that off stream, because my last stream I spent like 5.5 hours of just doing that grinding and got no story done. But then after I got done with that grinding, I was like, you know what? There's enough here to make an edit out of it. So I put together a little highlight out of it to Phantom Racer by Twerp and the Proto Men. And I'd say after the first minute, that edit goes hard. First minute's a little boring, but then after that I'm like, oh, this is hidden. And I'm very proud of it, but I stayed up too late making it.
Nice. Haven't seen it yet. But maybe I will. I might partake.
Maybe I will, maybe I won't. What's it do you?
Closing shift. I've come to bargain.
Dormammu.
Is all of you. That's what all of you are saying.
That's what you need. You need the Eye of Agamotto if you're going to try and grind resources in Death Stranding.
Agamotto.
Me no psycho arigato. Kawaii.
Hello, Moto. Who had a Razor flip phone back in the day and would just like run that as your ringtone because it was like the funkiest one available at the time?
I don't know, but I would just hear a lot of "Hello, Moto." Because what is it with like old people that just like they can never just have a normal type of phone? It always has to be like some weird third-party shit that is still running Android, but it comes with like 50 apps installed on it that they don't know what to do with, and it's like a brand that you've never heard of before. Or if it is a brand, you're like, they make smartphones? They're still around?
I don't know what I look like, the old person professor?
A geriatric doctor?
What I look like, a vaginacologist?
Vaginacologist.
That reminds me of that moment in Adventure Time. There's an episode of Adventure Time where there's this candy person named James, and he keeps killing himself so that he can be like a worthy sacrifice and keep getting medals because he likes getting medals, and a bunch of them have just like faked their deaths. So he just keeps faking his death, and Finn and Jake caught him, and eventually were like, Princess Bubblegum will find out. She's no dummy. And then when she found out, she had the banana guards all lined up, and she showed them a photo of James because they're all the same candy person, and she was like, here, this is a photo of the perpetrators. And he was like, I need to see the other 24 pictures. And it was like, nope, you only need that one. What? How can one photo only identify 25 perpetrators? And then there was like another banana guard that was like, you mean they're Vigenta quintuplets? No, they're clones. What are clones? And then she like just proceeds to literally define. It's like,
an English major wrote that episode.
Yeah, right. True. But it was like, an organism that is reproduced asexually from one ancestor or stock to which they are genetically identical. And it was like, how did that happen? It's a long story. I love long stories.
What if you wanted to sacrifice yourself, but you died for realsies?
If you had the chance to die, would you?
Yeah, maybe.
Says Merida from Brave.
If you had the chance to smell my feet, would ya?
That sounds like Drew McIntyre.
It does.
The way you said that. If you had the chance to wear this bracelet, would you?
I did see the little clip from his interview with Chris Van Vliet. I want to say Valet.
It's not Valet. I know because I said Valet, but I can't remember exactly how it is, but it's Valet. You pronounce the T, but I only know because Samantha Irvin, when she went on, gave him like a wrestling entrance announcement. Oh, it's Valet. That's what it is.
Valet.
It's Valet.
Control Alt Valet. That's what he would have called the show if he was a nerd. He would have had a podcast called Control Alt Valet instead of his current wrestling show. But yeah, I saw the clip of Drew McIntyre on there talking about like trying to come up with zingers to hit Punk with, and how like nobody, like his wife wasn't impressed, and even like the clip of Punk reacting to it, it's like, so you say you're straight edge, but you spend all your time in rehab, and Punk's just like, yeah, it's pretty good.
He was like, all right.
It was like when we tell each other jokes on any of these shows where we're just like, it's pretty good.
I also think my mic in like Windows turned itself down, and that's why it's doing that. I started the show earlier, and my mic gain was just like significally lower than normal.
Well, your
I think
Audacity, when you adjust the slider in Audacity for the microphone recording level, it is just like changing the Windows audio panel volume.
Right, that's why I noticed, because it's all the way down, and I don't know why it's all the way down. I didn't do that, but my HyperX mic is on like the first of the 5 dots setting, the little like knob at the bottom, so whatever. It seems fine, so I'll just leave it.
Well, because one thing is a hardware controlled volume adjuster and the other one is software controlled.
Your mom is a hardware controlled volume.
I control your mom with my software. That's why I take Viagra.
I hardware your mom on my face.
This is pretty good.
And then I work on her software. Yeah, just CM Punk. It's pretty good.
I unzip my file and make an installation.
Okay.
And then we have s.exe.
Sexy. Seeks. If you will. Have you heard about this GameStop retro thing going on?
I have, and I don't like it.
GameStop is apparently... Why did that just go off? Shut the fuck... My Amazon thing is making way too many noises today. Anyway, GameStop is apparently going off on their own and portraying that they are now like they will now at select locations be a retro store instead of just a regular gaming store, because I don't know. I don't know why GameStop still exists. I mean, I get it, but like it kind of mentally doesn't exist to me. So it's just like, it seems kind of like useless at this point, even though I get why it exists. But it's just like nobody I know or have met in the last like 7 years would ever go to one for any reason. Because then they started doing that thing where they started selling merch, and now they're doing this retro thing.
Yeah.
It's just dumb.
It's just, I mean, most people just buy games digitally now, but if you want to buy a game physically, then it is like,
right.
it is a location where you can then get a physical game. But even still, when you go into the store, then it's like, it's mostly just Funko Pops everywhere and not games. And if it is games, it's hardly any like games. It's like, oh, here's 50 copies of Madden or whatever. And I personally am pissed as hell at the just the concept of GameStop having like a retro thing after they spent the majority of their operating time destroying retro games that didn't sell. That's what they like. If you had like, you know, I think about all the people that they turned in like a copy of a game that they like enjoyed, but they were done with it. They wanted to buy a new game. They're like, here, Mr. GameStop, I want some money back out of this so I can get a new game. You know, it's like a game that they enjoy. It's got their save file, everything on it. And then it just gets thrown straight in a dumpster because GameStop was just straight up destroying an insane amount of physical games that they just didn't want to sell. So that way then they could just keep pushing like new stock of whatever, like Call of Duty modern bullshit. And so now them turning around and saying, we're going to do a retro store is so full of shit. And I wonder, there's like, you know, it's retro back to like Wii era. And that's as far back as the retro goes. No further. It could have gone a lot further if they didn't fucking destroy all of it. Fuck GameStop. Talk about this last time. What was it? Game Informer?
Mm-hmm.
Dub after dub for these people.
All right. I get what you're saying. Now, how about GameStop Future? Where they just release unreleased games to the public against every game dev company's wishes. I think it's got a shot.
You know, if they did have like a GameStop Future, it would just be like NFTs and shit. Like, oh, Future. You could ask an AI cashier about what games to buy and they're going to say Funko.
I just don't, like, again, GameStop doesn't exist to me mentally, so I don't think about this stuff. I don't think about a lot of real world like shit that goes on with companies and stuff. I mean, I can think about it. It's just not something that like comes to my mind. I don't know how to describe what kind of person I am mentally, but it's just like I have such a narrow mindset. I can only focus on things that are very literal and in the moment. Like I can have conversations about this stuff, but when it comes up, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I must just have zero passion." Damn.
I just realized I don't care.
I guess. I don't want to say I don't care. I care about the conversation and the person's opinion that I'm talking to and their stance on the issue. But the issue, like, I don't give a shit about GameStop. I don't care what they're doing.
I wouldn't give two shits about GameStop if GameStop didn't have so much collateral damage that they cause just everywhere else.
Yeah, that's fair. They do that. But consider this. GameStop present, where they just release games. Just games modern day that are out now.
Hey, speaking of games, PlayStation 5 finally has a game.
And that is...
After having -1 game with Concord, we now have +1 million games with Astrobot. It's like the first game that they've released in so very long.
Oh, you mean like PlayStation releasing a PlayStation game?
Yeah, it's being immediately met with like rave reviews, like 9 out of 10s and 10 out of 10s all across the board. And it doesn't have live service, doesn't have microtransactions. It wasn't an 8-year-long, 9-year-long project that they dumped millions into and then are probably just going to fire the rest of the team after. It's a team of 60.
It's real.
The game is like 15 hours long, and that's if you're like really going for completing it all. But it's just like fun, and it's finished, and it doesn't have any like the key points that people praising of is like it doesn't like chase trends. It's not live service, no microtransaction shit. It's just a game, and it's really good.
That's cool. I fuck with that. I've always liked PlayStation originals better, anyway, than others. Besides, like, Nintendo, I guess, technically. When I say that, I mean, like, PlayStation exclusive. But also, PlayStation games are pretty good. Like, PlayStation exclusives have much more always been my favorites than... And I mean, I was kind of just fed down that line anyway. I never really had an Xbox growing up. But man, I love me my PlayStation classics. Spyro, Crash, Ratchet and Clank, Smash, Mario Kart.
Smash.
Fire Emblem, you know, those classics. Oh, dude, we didn't do the opening question.
I was wondering if you were ever going to get around to it.
I fucking forgot because I wasn't looking directly at it. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I have such a narrow mindset. We started a conversation and then we were having a conversation. And on my notes document, I only had my talking points that I came up with for the podcast pulled up. So I forgot about the opening questions. These are things I have to be reminded about.
I was half convinced at this point that the opening question was just how was your week?
No, I actually had an opening question. Also, before the podcast, man, just fumble the beginning of this. We're listening to Lo-Fi Cafe Jazz Beats and Chill by Young Marin. If you guys want to click the link in the description to listen along with us. If you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, which is just what you're going to have to do.
Or if you have like 2 Spotify accounts.
Yeah, open Spotify web player on one account and then Spotify the app on a different account and do that.
Just start a jam sesh.
And if ads come up, just pause the podcast.
I'm not a fan of Spotify, like, telling you like who else is listening to stuff on Spotify like over Wi-Fi. It's like I don't need people like scanning in my area like on my network.
Oh, I've never had I've never been around people that use Spotify like that, so I don't know. No one in my family ever used Spotify except for me.
It's just like a weird feature. It's like, oh, you're on the same Wi-Fi network as this person. Now you can see their device and what they're listening to. It's like, that's not anything that I want or like.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I just see the friends, what they're listening to kind of thing.
That feels about as stupid as the Twitch drop-in with like the knock-knock.
Right. So now we can actually roll the actual intro song for the podcast and do the opening question.
Roll the intro!
No, we don't have to roll the intro.
If you like, I was gonna say big wow big. If you like closing shift intro, you'll like again.
But anyway, here's the opening question I came up with 20 minutes into the podcast. My bad. Sorry about that. These are things I need a visible reminder of because I'm just a bozo.
Gotta get those 3 monitors on.
I got ahead of myself. I only have 2 monitors and one of them is off. So that's why I'm not seeing shit.
One of them is a monitor lizard.
There are 2 monitors inside your head and one of them is on and one of them is off. My opening question today is I wanted to ask you, Mia, and I guess anybody who wants to respond in the Spotify or YouTube comments, what is the earliest memory of a lesson you learned that absolutely blew your mind? It does not matter if it's like a life lesson, if it's a small thing you just like were educated on. What is the earliest memory in your entire life you can think of learning a lesson that blew your mind? It could literally be like that plants are also living creatures, technically. It could be literally anything. What's like your earliest memory of that?
That's
what
really
age?
hard for me because I have very poor memory of my life. Earliest memory, of course, being that playing Link to the Past when I was 4 and trying to beat like any of the tutorial of it. And the lesson I learned there is that I suck at video games.
Okay.
In terms of information that I received that supposedly changed.
How about a real one?
Yeah. In terms of information received that could have actually changed my outlook of life was misinformation. It was false information. I was at a fucking I was at like a nature day type thing at my local church that my family went to.
Nature Day.
Yeah, they were doing like a thing. It was like teaching kids
Today
about,
nature is allowed to exist.
yeah, they were teaching kids about like nature and whatever. And it was all like faulty information almost the whole way down. They took us to fish in a pond that had no fish in it, and the guy who
Trees
was
need to
like
be burned because it's how we power cars.
the old man who was guiding us on this was like, all the water is dinosaur spit.
What?
And I was like, there's no fucking way.
Was bro like on parole at the time? Did he get out of the insane asylum for a day?
It's so fucking weird. But I was thinking about it the other day because there was like at one point of that where they were trying to teach us about like I guess a couple types of birds. And so they had like these 2 like bird nests. I guess they were fake bird nests with like fake eggs in them. But for like this example, they were wanting to show off like how some birds will like leave their eggs in a different bird's nest so that other bird will raise their young for them. So the instructor guy, the old man guiding us on this tour of misinformation, handed me like an egg that was a different color from all the other ones in the nest and was like, go put this in that other nest. And then he's like, now, does anybody know how that egg got in the other nest? And I was like, yeah, I fucking put it there. He's like, no, another bird. It's like, yeah, okay, buddy. That's where you know what I learned that? Not to trust anything that these fucking old people are telling me at church. That's what I learned.
God, no wonder you're so skeptical.
Yeah.
Jesus. Coming to call every week. Like, you know what I heard about? I heard this old guy say that birds move eggs between nests. Like, this is just bullshit. This is probably because of NFTs and the government.
Yeah, I was like 7 years old being like, dude, I gotta get on crypto.
This is how our calls start every day. Every Sunday is how our calls start. It's Mia talking about eggs and talking about NFTs.
It isn't unlikely for me to hop in a call and be like, you see this thing about this bird and it's 50 feet tall.
You're saying dinosaurs are back. I don't believe it.
Dinosaurs back. All right.
I mean, yeah, I used to have before I was like treated for a lot of my mood disorders. I was just like, when Mia would like, when Mia would have a grievance to express in call or whatever, I would be like, this is like several years ago. I would be like, oh, another one, you know, like I wish Mia had more positive stuff to talk about.
This is my peak like, complaining about capitalism era.
And it was just like, you know, we had to understand each other And I had to be like Mia just has grievances and expresses them. You know, it's just conversation.
I just want
conversation.
just talking about the world.
And I'm a lot less bitter of a it was really because I was just like, man, I wish everyone would just give me more positive attention because I'm a huge narcissistic asshole. And well, I was much more so back then. Like I'm not as competitive in video games as I was back then, and I'm not like, I just don't care about like winning or getting what I want. I just try to get what I want to a healthy degree, and then mostly just try to give what I can to everybody else. I adapted a pretty good like positive mindset myself. Like I don't know why my dog is whining the fuck out of the downstairs, but anyway, I'm sorry if you can hear that. But I went through, I mean, my entire 20s has been like medication treatment through like going to doctors and having stuff done and getting diagnoses or diagnosee, whichever the plural form of diagnosis is. Diagnosox. And all the many diagnoses I have validated things I have. Jesus Christ, with that dog. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. And it keeps distracting me. I also did a lot of therapy and separately self-therapy. I've talked things out with myself probably more than anyone else who has told me they've done that I'm aware of. And it's very helpful. I would recommend expressing your things out loud even if you're by yourself, because it can help. Probably not for everybody, but I do think definitely therapy and medicine are worth a try. I think if you can get access to them in a safe way from somebody who's good at their job, then you can. But if somebody's just gonna like be shitty and like just prescribe you shit because you're feeling mentally ill, then keep your guard up. But yes, I'm very thankful. I'm very lucky to be in the position I'm in, and being able to do all this content over the years with Mia has been a huge positive part of that, because we've accomplished a lot together, and I would dare to say that we've been each other's longest running mates when it comes to working collaboratively on content that either of us have probably ever had.
Yeah, I'd say we test positive because of each other.
I would say it differently, but yeah. It's cool having just like Big Wow Big and Closing Shift and stuff, because now this month is like, what is it, like 7 months of Closing Shift?
Think so, yeah.
And that's also for me 7 months of quitting nicotine, which is another part of what I did to get healthier. That is because I vaped from March-ish 2021 I remember February 5th this year, 2024 was the day that I quit, and I remember that because I made a note of it mentally. But it was the best decision I've ever made, and not to be whatever like truth or whatever. But if you are vaping, you should consider quitting. If it's not causing you any immediate problems and you just like vaping, go for it. That's your choice. But I would recommend, if it's causing you legit problems, consider maybe talking to a medical professional or talking to a friend about it. Or oh my God. Did that come through Discord?
No.
Okay. My dog just went apeshit for a second. It's okay though. Anyway. What was that? Yeah, don't vape. I think that's what I was saying. Whatever. It's all good in this neighborhood, was my point. What would have been some of your positive takeaways from the last few years, if you have any? If you don't, you just want to die every day. You don't have to share. I'm just wondering if us doing all this has gotten anything for you or anything else, because you've been on your rotting coffee shit for like a couple years now.
I've been on that as long as we've been on Big Wow Big.
Really, that long?
Yeah, because it was right around the time we started Big Wow Big that then I started that.
Yeah, no, Cosmic Emerald didn't start until like a year after Big Wow Big started, but I've now been on that shit for like 2.5 years, except that I'm not making Cosmic Emerald content right now, but I might make a video here and there in the near future, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think at this point, I'm still putting in whatever I can on all that. I think like over the past few years, what I've learned out of any of it is just how to actually like socialize with people and like be a human being to some extent, because of how like isolated a lot of my youth was. I had to like learn how to interact with people.
Same.
I think a lot of the lessons I've learned over the past few years, though, have not been great lessons for reasons outside of this. Learned a lot of stuff that I need to unlearn to be like a functional person, which I'm now more of now. But like for like a year and a half, I was just not a functional person because I had some shit happen that was just like fucking me up. And now,
yes,
I'm on my shit. I'm having a fun time with whatever I can do. I'm having to now, since
real.
I've had the feeling recently Like my life for the past few months has been that tweet of like became important at work on accident and it's ruining my life. That's been my past few months. Became important at work on accident and it's ruining my life. Because I've been having like for the past couple months just constantly busy, always being asked to do shit last second. And so it's given me a better appreciation now for making the stuff that I make. And when I actually get time to stream or make something that I want to put out into the world, I'm a lot more appreciative of it now when there's so much else drawing away and distracting from it that it adds this additional value when I actually get to do it, that I have this, although I'm exhausted a lot more now and don't really have the energy to put into a lot of it more, when I do have the energy to put into it, I feel a lot better about like doing it. Because it's like a thing that, you know, I now have to like overcome a level of like tiredness and adversity and busyness just to get it done.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel the same.
It's become more of a labor of love, which makes me appreciate it more.
That's how, I mean, especially in the last couple of years, every time I made a video, it was absolutely a passion project. I put dozens of hours into editing in the last 2 years. And I mean, while I'm in a point in my life right now where I absolutely do not wish to make any Cosmic Emerald kind of content, that doesn't mean I can't. I mean, my channel's still there and I can use it if I want to. I really wanted to make a Bad Blood video of our like whole thing we're doing with it, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Right now I'm focusing on like my financial, I'm living really, really real life right now. I'm focusing on my financial situation. I just adopted 2 cats. If you didn't know, in the last like 2 episodes I've talked about it. And they also just this week actually started living in the rest of the house for a great majority of the day. I think even in the last episode, they were still living in just my bathroom.
Very nice.
But they are now living in the rest of the house for a great chunk of the day, and they love it to death. They love the shit out of it. They love the house, for sure. They're definitely used to that, and it's really just getting them to get to know Kiki at this point. Welcome back to Getting to Know. Today be making my cats get to know the dog.
I would love if you did like a little getting to know, just like as a joke, just a
like
tiny one, and you just like mic up the cats. Yeah,
that would be very funny. Although I don't think I could get either of them to sit still long enough for me to do that.
Just like hold the microphone up to them, just like, what do you think about it? Like people do that on TikTok a lot, like those little tiny microphones. Like, sir, your thoughts?
Yeah, I saw one video like that. My cats are really fun though. I really like having them around. I didn't realize how like socially helpful cats could be. Having like pets that are just around all the time that you can just like talk to. It's really nice, and they're really sweet, and they follow most of our rules. Marcy's kind of a psycho, but she's a psycho that's pretty respectful, and she's sweet when she wants to be. I, within like a period of 12 hours, got 8 pretty thick scratches on my hand from Marcy because I was just trying to get her to fuck off because she was trying to eat my leg while I was trying to sleep. So good luck sleeping in my house because Marcy might try to kill you in your sleep.
I don't know. You might have to keep the cats away from me when I sleep because I roll over, I'm killing them.
No, I really don't think they'll like. They're not usually. Well, I mean, I don't know where they'll be because we've got like a little less than a month until we do our thing, and it'll be even closer by the time this episode comes out. We need to really start planning that, planning for that because we've hardly planned anything.
I gotta start shopping for it.
I need to start making a serious list, and yeah, I need to start buying stuff and everything. I just started building my savings account with like this past paycheck I just got from my job, and it's going well. I feel pretty mentally up about it. What I'm doing is like putting a chunk of my paychecks into savings and then only using my savings for gas every 2 weeks. I get paid bi-weekly. So I'm using my savings for only gas so that my checking doesn't have to pay for gas, and then I'm just saving the rest. But I'm putting enough in there that the gas, like a small portion of it's taken out for gas, and then the rest can build up over time. I'm like putting extra in there so that gas can come out of it. And it's a very good plan. I feel very confident in it. I feel more confident in money than I ever have, even though I'm still fucking poor as shit. But, you know, who isn't in this day and age, you know? I mean, everyone's got problems.
These days.
Also, quick shout out I want to give. The band Catnip, who my good friend, I would say our good friend Owen is a part of. The band Catnip just released their first single called Everybody Knows You're High. We should link it in the description of this episode. Please go listen to it. They're at like 111 monthly listeners. I would like to get them up on that. They also have a t-shirt that's available for sale now. And I don't know where the link is, but we can probably put that in the description also. I want to put their song is good. Their band is dope. And their shirt is cool. It's like a manga panel, and it's got like cats on it, and it says piss, 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 and it's very cool. So yeah, definitely go in the description and go to their Bandcamp page, and because if you buy the shirt, you also get full access to the song on Bandcamp. Hi, Marcy. She just jumped onto my desk.
And
Hi.
for a little extra incentive, here's 5 seconds of one of the songs.
Will not be at ease.
Now go listen to the whole thing.
Owen just DM'd me about the thing. Should I ask him if we can put his song in the episode? He probably doesn't care.
Yeah,
but
just a little sampler. Hey, while you ask him that, I will get started here on our reoccurring segment that we have going on. Coming in for a third issue, which funny enough are also terms you use for newspapers, because we're looking at the past, baby.
oh, we should have Owen on the show.
We should do a little little press tour for him.
Maybe next week. I'll ask him that too. Or we just get him in now. No, but
Oh god, that'd be a nightmare.
no, we'll do next week. If he can. But anyway, go ahead. I'm gonna mute because I'm gonna voice to text him so it's quicker, and then I'll listen.
All right. So I'm gonna try and keep these shorter this week. These are not as long as last week's was. Took quite a while to read through. These ones are shorter, sweeter. I got one main article, and then I'm going to be reading some adverts to try and give a good idea here. Your goal is to guess when this newspaper was published. Let me read the headline for you. Cremation. Austria is the first country to adopt measures for the introduction of cremation as a mode of disposing of the bodies of the dead. Sir Henry Thompson's paper on cremation has been translated twice into German, once at Cologne and once in Graz, a city in Austria containing a population of 100,000. The Austria publication was prefixed by an introduction written by Dr. Koppel, formerly physician to the King of Belgium. Influenced, it is said, by this paper, the Communal Council of Vienna has adopted by a large majority a proposal to establish in the cemetery the necessary apparatus for burning the bodies, the use of which will be optional and open to all. The Council of Graz has passed a similar resolution. Any immediate guess as to what year this was published?
No, man, I don't know when Austria does stuff.
You think I keep up with Austria?
What do I look like, the Austria professor? I don't know. Immediate guesses. Do you know me? Do you know how my brain works? Slowly.
I'd like to make myself think.
I think.
Slowly.
Oh, fuck. Am I allowed to know the century as a hint?
I'm going to give you a couple of adverts in here. Actually, no, I have another article, short one, very short little short little thing on the next page of this paper that may give a little bit more information for a little bit more guessing. The proposed law to give women control of their own property in Virginia meets with general favor in the state and will prove one of the most popular measures of the session should it pass. And I will read you as well these advertisements for products in this paper. Pond's Extract cures neuralgia, diarrhea, lameness, toothache, sore throat, rheumatism, piles, boils, burns, scalds, ulcers, headache, soreness, sprains, wounds, bruises, hemorrhages, etc. Cured by Pond's Extract. And in case you are wondering, I did look this up. Pond's Extract was a healing, quote-unquote, tea from the bark of witch hazel.
The hard part about this game is that I don't know time like that. Like, if you asked me to solve math problems, I could do that. But
I would advise you to think of what era you think that there would be this kind of snake oil salesman and women only now having the discussion of should they be allowed to have property?
Well, yeah, I mean women.
And when there would even be the industrial technology to burn bodies adequately.
But that's that's the kind of stuff I don't know. I know very general dates and time periods.
I can give you one more thing here. psychomancy, or soul charming. How either sex may fascinate and gain the love and affections of any person they choose instantly. This simple mental acquirement all can possess, free by mail for 26 cents, together with a marriage guide, Egyptian oracle, dreams to ladies, a queer book, 100,000 sold.
Women talking about being allowed to own property. I don't know when women started wanting that.
I don't know when women got needy.
I don't know when bitches started wanting.
When did these bitches start shopping for land?
When did women start shopping? Because they be shopping, but when did they start shopping? Yeah, like every time you say, I'll give you another hint, that's not a hint. That does not help me. I don't know these things. I want them to, but I feel like I'm like looking at a test question and like analyzing if my teacher would change up the answer so hard, or like if the time period's so far away because you chose like a year in the 70s last time, and now like, ooh, how far would she go away to like trick me or whatever? And similar to a teacher, you're probably not thinking of it like that. So
the earliest these can go is 1756.
Cool.
That's just all the Library of Congress.
Interesting fact. Honestly, your most helpful hint so far.
It gives you a better range.
It's just, yeah, I don't know. Maybe like, I don't want to say the 30s, because I feel like the 30s, they've just been talking about the Great Depression the whole time.
Let it be known that by the 30s, at that point, that would have been long after women's suffrage.
And that's exactly my problem. I have no idea when women started suffraging. Is it like the 1890s, maybe like the 1880s? I'll guess 1886. That's my guess. I have no fucking idea.
Not terribly far off. This newspaper was published. This is the Bristol News. It, for whatever reason, doesn't say what volume it is, but it was published on March 31st, 1874, provided by the University of Tennessee.
And there you go.
That's 1874. So if you ever wanted to know when cremation first became a thing for like actually being able to corpse dispose with cremation, 1874 in Austria. You learned something today.
Yes, I'll totally take it with me past this episode.
What do you think this is, 1785? I was trying to find a paper from 1776 to try and like tie in a little bit around like the Declaration of Independence, see if there was like any like general, like see if there's any like politics of that time that would just seem a little bit silly now, if a bit obvious, just for fun. But every like paper I could find from 1776 that would have even possibly talked about it is like novel length articles. So I was like, no, that's not show material.
I don't fucking know, dude. Yeah, you could pick an article from like 2006 and I would probably start my thinking range in like the 60s or some shit. I'm not very just time isn't my thing.
Which is great that we have a whole segment about it.
I know.
It's like playing chess on Big Wow Big.
Yeah, we did play chess, didn't we? I guess.
We did. Which I didn't even know until the end of that episode that you didn't know how to play chess.
No, I didn't. I still don't really know how to play chess. I made it a year goal of a 2024 goal of mine to learn how to play chess. Still haven't gotten into that, but still would like to. Wouldn't mind.
Everybody was getting huge into chess a few years ago.
Yeah, it was when Chandler started sweating it.
It became like a huge meta.
And Chandler found out he was like technically cheating in chess for like ever, and then his account got banned or something on chess.com.
I miss the very brief era that Jerma completely fabricated. He was like, you know what? I'm going to make Battleship like the new Twitch meta. And then he did briefly. Battleship like blew up, which is the point of Battleship.
Huh.
Ha ha.
Aha.
Hey, do you guys know that we have a coffee page where you can like support the show? It's in the links down below, and you should like consider that because
Yes.
we make good stuff every week.
You can give us money.
No pressure.
No pressure. Click the link. Click the link. Do it. Click the link.
We don't advertise it ever. So I thought like maybe once in a million years we should mention it.
Yeah, we probably should.
And I would mention that I just released a whole bunch of merch for my stream, but that might be a bit too much advertisement back to back. So that's all I'll say about it. Because I don't mean that to be advertisement. I just had fun designing merchandise and then released it. And I think it's like actually decent merchandise that you wouldn't be like horribly... Well, One Piece you would be horribly embarrassed to wear in public. If you...
One Piece?
Because it says like, I got my peanuts jorked at the rotting circus. I just want like like some fun designs and some shit post design is like kind of how I'm going back and forth with it. But I have 2 different designs that I think are like, one is just kind of like fun novelty trinket kind of thing, and the other is just like a decent design that I thought, you know what, this would be cool. I was trying for a very, very long time to think like, if I was going to make something that people are going to spend money on and is going to occupy physical space in this world, it better not be some stupid tuber merch.
Also, just want to say, we have gotten explicit permission from Owen to play that little sample. So earlier, you guys would have heard that little sample of the song. But yeah, go stream it.
We did not get permission to play this sample, though. Roll it.
It's just like Friend Like Me from Aladdin or something. just some like really copyrighted song.
Man, I've been listening to so much, like, I have a whole system with whenever I play copyrighted music on stream that I only ever do it in sections where there's not going to be any, like, anything going on. Like, I do the intro music and BRBs. I can do copyrighted music in those because I don't care if those get muted. But I have been slowly, over the course of a couple weeks, forcing my stream to listen to the entirety of Morning Glory by Oasis. Just like every stream starting with a new song.
Yeah.
I've been Oasis posting.
Post-Aces.
Post-Aces. What is a prostration? It's a good word.
Castration.
That's not a good word.
And why?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what it means. It's just a bad word.
I feel like I don't like it.
I'm not feeling that word the way I should, the way I feel other words.
You got any words that are like very explicitly like you say them or you hear them and you're just like, "Ugh."
Moist, but not quite as much anymore. I used to be like that with that word.
That was like a thing for a while. That was like moist, like blew up as like a gross word.
I don't know. Not really. Not that I can think of off the top of my head, at least. Besides, like, when people use terms you should not use, I don't like that. That makes me sick to my stomach when people say stuff like that.
Speaking of which, why the fuck has the R slur been popping up on Twitter recently? Like it used to be
popping up everywhere.
It disappeared for so long. I'm blaming like the fucking manosphere. I guarantee this is like manosphere shit. That it's like it was like disappearing more and more for so many years, and now it's just back in full fucking swing. And even from people that like
way more people are using it than ever.
Yeah, and it's like every community is doing it too. There's like intersectionality with this. It's not just like your typical like offensive people who are just like saying this to be offensive. It's like people who like in general agree with the things like of your worldview are also still saying it. Like every fucking demographic now is back on the R slur for some reason.
It's almost like the manosphere brought it into the new generation and they don't quite know what it means yet. Yeah, I don't know where it came from either, but I hate that word. I have a coworker I had to like report because he says it all the time.
It was so, it's like vaping. It was so almost dead and now it's back in full swing.
Vaping.
Got that new galaxy gas shit.
Galaxy gas?
You heard about that?
No.
It's just whippets. It's like ultra accessible, really fucking dangerous. Just these gigantic cans of nitrous oxide that the company's like claiming like, oh, you could do this for like flavored whipped cream. Yeah, that's why it has the fucking like huffing nozzle on it, sure. So it's horrible that this is like becoming a new thing that's like blowing up and like people are doing it. It's spreading within like communities, like of course, as any drug issue does. But if you do whippets, you're a fucking moron. Like straight up, I'm gonna like, there's no sugarcoating this. You're so fucking stupid if you do whippets.
Enough said. I mean, like, what else is there to say? Hello, Marcy, can I help you?
And there's been a lot of misinformation about whippets too. People saying that it's like, oh, it doesn't kill brain cells. It's not dangerous. Because it doesn't directly kill brain cells. It's not like a fucking acid creeping up into your brain. But what it does do is deprive your brain of oxygen and also deprive your blood of B12, which does those two things in conjunction do kill your brain cells.
Dumbass.
This shit fucks people up for life. Don't fuck with it.
My PC's spinning bars right now. I can hear it going nuts.
Pop off, queen.
I also was going to say, I found out something cool that I didn't know about Spotify descriptions on podcasts. If you link like a playlist in the description of your podcast, it will just have like the title of it as the link and you can just click it and it'll take you in the Spotify window to the playlist.
It doesn't do that automatically. I have that set for the embedded link.
Oh, you have it, the like embedded thing. Yeah. But it'll take you to the,
you mean that it redirects while within the app? It doesn't open up like a browser link.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's really easy. So what you should do is go to the episode description on Spotify, click the link, and then go to YouTube and open the podcast, and then balance your audio between the two and listen to it with us.
Tell you what, you're talking about your computer making noise there for a moment. It made me realize a bit of a sad thing now with like everything being digital. Since computers these days don't really have disk drives, because now that kind of physical media is like phasing out, you don't get that fun like winding up whirling sound of like the disk drive in your computer, like, you know, as you're like trying to boot up whatever game on disk. That was like a fun thing. It's like a fun noise your computer would make. Disk drive noises. I'm like nostalgic for them now.
I don't think I've heard one in recent enough time.
I want to hear my computer as it has to load a new section go.
I don't know if I've heard one in recent enough time to remember, because I'm not 50 like you. I move on. I keep up with the times. Other than that, I will say we don't have any really wrestling things to talk about this week. But, you know, we're kind of saving our putting stock in our hype for Bad Blood, because that's the next WWE PLE taking place in Atlanta, Georgia, that we will be at physically. Our bodies will be ready.
They will. We have been getting hype recently over Jaya, that being Jey Uso and Rhea Ripley, their ship name now.
Oh, true. I'm loving the Jey Uso, Rhea Ripley stuff.
That's been adorable.
Never mind, we have only wrestling to talk about.
We've just been sharing back and forth. Every Rhea Ripley and Jey Uso moment has now been like posted between the two of us in Discord.
Right. Yeah. Here's your new segment. Here's your weekly closing shift reminder to go watch some Jey Uso, Rhea Ripley content.
Yeet.
Closing yeet.
Closing yeet. Maybe we could ask Jey Uso what his Elden Ring build is.
Maybe. I was also planning on mentioning on the show, but I already mentioned it to you, but it's not like that interesting. But I only recently found out about the like Apple App Store lightening up on emulators kind of thing. So I downloaded one and got a bunch of ROMs for it.
Vacuous ROM.
Which is all totally legal, and I'm doing legally, and it's not illegal. So I got the one called Delta from the App Store, and I got like mostly GBA games, but also like some N64, SNES, DS games. And I'm currently in the midst of a playthrough in Pokemon Fire Red, Metroid Fusion, and A Link to the Past. And A Link to the Past has been the one I've been going the most nuts on. Like, I'm about to finish the second temple, which I didn't know they were like temples, but I'm about to finish the second temple of 3 and do all that. So we'll see where that goes. It's a very difficult temple. And then in Pokemon Fire Red, I just got off the SS Anne, which is the cruise ship you go to after the second gym. And I'm probably in Vermilion City, and then I'm probably about to make my way to the third gym. I'm still building my team to be better, because it's not great right now. And in Metroid Fusion, I put a pause on that, but I plan on beating it myself, because we beat it on Big Wa Big, but Mia played it, and I've never beaten a side-scroller Metroid game, which is most of them. And, well, in all fairness, I've never beaten a Metroid Prime game either, so I want to play Metroid Prime Remastered, but I don't have the money for that kind of purchase right now.
40 smackaroonies.
But I also have been, I've had this, I've had the iPhone Lightning port to HDMI adapter for a long time, and I've used it before to hook my phone up to my Elgato Capture, but now I'm doing it again to play these emulated games. And I'm just, you can, like, if you didn't know, you could Bluetooth a PlayStation or Xbox controller to your phone, or even a Switch controller. That's what I've been doing. With an Xbox controller I have a spare one. I use one for my PC and I use one for my phone, and that's been very fun. A Link to the Past in particular, I'm happy to be playing. I think it's kind of silly that the one I've made the most progress in is the phone emulator one, but I started A Link to the Past a bunch of times, and I barely ever got past saving Zelda from the dungeon in the beginning, and now I'm quite far into the game, and I plan on beating all 3 of these games, and then after that, I was going to play the Minish Cap. This was the next Zelda I was going to move to. Or I was going to move to, I have the HD remake of Link's Awakening on the Switch, and I was going to play that too. So that's probably my next one, actually. I've had that for a couple of years. Actually, I just remembered now, the order of operations I was going to do is beat A Link to the Past, go back and actually finish the final boss fight in Breath of the Wild, so I can actually say I finished the game, and then do Link's Awakening is what I was going to do.
Oh my god.
Because I'm still sitting on that final boss fight. I just haven't. I could do it so easily. I could finish it like today. Maybe I will actually just get that out of the way today. But yes, that's where I'm at. What I'm sure it's just Death Stranding, but what's your video game situation right now?
I mean, it has been Death Stranding for a good amount, but I've been watching a playthrough of Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's still just been good. That's been like some nice nightly watching, and very fun is because I'm watching Vinesauce play it. There's a bingo for his Red Dead Redemption 2 like playthrough. So that's just like fun every night, just like watch Red Dead and play the bingo. And funny enough, the person who made the Vine Sauce bingo just followed me on Blue Sky the other day, and I was like, oh, that's the person that made the thing that I use all the time. It's cool. So that's been some fun for me. But otherwise, I was doing some Elden Ring, but I kind of fell off of that after I got busy. I might pick that back up a little bit. And I am planning on sometime soon, now that I got controller stuff worked out, because using a Switch Pro controller on Windows is never a good time outside of Steam. I got controller stuff worked out to be able to use my Pro controller for PlayStation emulation, meaning that I should be able to play Crash Bandicoot Twin Sanity pretty soon, which is exciting because I played that game as a kid, although on the original Xbox. I booted it up the other day and heard that like title screen music for the first time in what would probably be at the very least like 14 years, like probably 14 years. And it was just crazy hearing that again after so long. It's like, oh my God, I remember this game all of a sudden. It's all coming back of how much I fucking loved this. So I'm excited to get to that.
Yeah, that's always a good feeling.
It was like booting up that game and hearing that music start. It felt like stepping into a portal 14 years ago.
It's like when you're like in a city with old people and they're like, I remember when none of these buildings were here. Like that building's new, that building's new, that building's new, that building's new. And it's like, I know what industrialization is.
Dude, my family, I don't know if this is like a Midwest thing or just because there's not so little that happens in the Midwest that you get excited over the most boring shit. But my family will be like, hey, you hear there's a new White Castle opening. That's pretty exciting. We should go to the opening day of White Castle.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's like that's the fucking and they'll still talk about it now. It's like, oh, did you go to that on like the opening day? It's like, no, I didn't go with you to the opening day of fucking White Castle.
Did you get the tickets for the White Castle premiere? Like, shut up.
We got the tickets for Bad Blood, and they're getting tickets to Bad Burgers.
White Castle fans be like, yo, who wants to go get some food? Bro, nobody.
Who wants some soggy sliders? I can't lie though. I am somewhat a fan of White Castle. It's shit. It makes you feel like shit. But like, you know, there's kind of like this aspect of it.
I love food that makes me feel like shit.
Yeah. There's kind of this aspect of it that's kind of like, you know, like professional hot dog eating competitions where like they soak the bread bun like in water to make it easier to eat. Like it feels like that when you're eating like a White Castle sliders, and it's like, since it's so like soggy with like grease and the steam and everything from it, and they're so small, you're just like, you know, just shoving them back.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Enjoy your slop. Waiter, where's my slop? I remember a few years ago we went to like I guess it was maybe an opening, but it was like at the time it was like the only White Castle in like the vicinity of Phoenix, and it was like a super long drive away, and it was extremely busy there. It was like we drove like so far out of the way. It's like the one there next to Medieval Times, I guess, and that was like a whole day. Mm-hmm. That was like a insanely long drive just for busy as hell White Castle.
That's crazy because there's restaurants everywhere here, and there will still be full lines at all of them, unless it's like fucking like Arby's or something. That line be empty as shit.
Is there anybody who still, I guess people still eat in at restaurants? For some reason, my dad is still like adamant about like eating inside restaurants.
Nah, bro, you'll never catch me inside a restaurant unless somebody's like dying or getting married.
Like unless it's a sit down restaurant, then like, yeah, sure. Like if it's something that it's gonna, you know, it's not like fast food.
If it's a sit down, yeah.
But like, I'm not gonna go sit down inside of like a Burger King to go have lunch. Like I'm not gonna spend time inside of a Burger King.
It's sad that one of my first dates with my serious girlfriend I had in my teens was at a Burger King. Her idea, by the way, not mine.
I have a Burger King story. One time I went to Burger King with my family. This would have been around the time that we moved out here to Arizona. I did not consent to
hearing this story.
I did not consent to be in the court of the king.
Anyway, what are you saying?
But around the time that we moved out here to Arizona, my family went to Burger King, I guess, for lunch. Maybe it was dinner. I don't know. It was just a few of us. It was like me, my dad, and a couple more of us. And as we were there eating our food, this dude walks in, cracked out of his mind, with his son. And then he orders like 5 large drinks. And he just has like, he fills up one of them, has 4 empty cups, tries to give them to us. And then he walks out of the store without his son.
What happened to the son?
He stayed there until the guy came back.
Did he go to the front counter and be like, I lost my dad in the restaurant?
The dude came back like 20 minutes later. and just picked them up and just like left.
Did he have the cups with him or no?
I don't recall at that point. That's that. I think that was the last time I ate inside of a Burger King. You know what? That wasn't the last time I was in that Burger King though, because I went to that Burger King again at a later point for a job interview. But at the day that I had to do that job interview, I threw my back out, and so through the entire interview, I'm like, "Yep, yeah, I can work those hours." Yeah. Didn't get it, if you can believe it, because I had to keep my back like stiff straight, just like, "Yep, that works." And this being the Burger King.
No, tell me about that arc.
Another Burger King story. This Burger King, I applied to it, and they sent like oh my god, it was so stupid. They created a gigantic group text of everybody who had applied to that Burger King, and we're like, we're gonna be doing like open interviews on this day, and it was like 30 fucking people in 2 separate group chats that they had to split it into. There were like
awesome.
30 different people. They were like, we're doing group interviews on this day. This being 2 months after I applied. And then everybody in that either like didn't respond, or if they did respond, they were like, I don't need this fucking job. and just like roasting the shit out of them. And then there was one guy in one of the group chats who started sending 8-ball requests and said, if you beat me, I'll give you weed.
That's so funny.
That's my Burger King experience.
Just like send in the group chat, be like, what's y'all's body counts? I will say, every like minimum wage job and some not minimum wage, I don't think I have not gotten the job at more than 1 or 2 places I've ever applied to. I usually almost always get the job, just because I've worked. I know that just because I've worked a lot of places, and now I have a ridiculous amount of experience, including at a law firm as a paralegal's assistant. So it's hard for people to be like, you have no qualifications. It's like, okay, well, I'm a fantastic employee, so I don't know what your problem is, but I've never had that issue. Like, I was desperate to find a job when I got the job I have now, because I had to make enough money to pay like for my bills and stuff, because it was being taken care of through student loans before, and I didn't have them anymore. And I applied where I applied, and then I got the first job, and they gave me the pay that I asked for. So I was just like I'm very fortunate to be in the position I'm in, and I'm very lucky. I would wish the same fate for anyone, but the fact that it takes luck is stupid to be able to survive like that. But I also try to, I try not to take things like that for granted, because I know how lucky I am to have a lot of cushion below my existence.
I think the last time that I actually like applied to some place, this would have all been like just pre-COVID, which is what cut off my application of places when the world shut down. But I think the last place I applied to was a Kohl's, and that was also a group interview, which, by the way, fuck group interviews. That shit sucks.
I've never even, what the fuck?
I had to go in there for this group interview at a Kohl's. There's like 6 other people there, and I'm given like my answers to stuff, and it felt like I didn't even have a shot at that from the very beginning of it, because the other people who were like applying there to the Kohl's all had this like America's Got Talent level like sad backstory that they were telling of why they needed this job, and I'm like, why am I here? Why am I having to sit here in this group? As like there's no shot I'm getting it at this point. Everybody here like clearly needs it more.
Yeah, I don't have any money because my mom died in 9/11 and my dad died in Hurricane Katrina, so I just need, I need the job.
Yeah, and here I was like, just looking for a job out of high school.
Yeah, I'm a hard worker.
I don't have my license, but my mom can drop me off.
I started working when I was 15. I couldn't legally get a license when I got my first job. And it was like pretty quickly after I turned 15. And I got a job, so I didn't have to play sports anymore, because my parents wanted me to be the man my dad could never be. No offense. They Hello? Why are you meowing at me right now? I'm talking about my dad.
She heard you talking to shit.
She's like, you'll never be half what your dad was. No, my parents are great. Me and my parents, our family individually, the 5 of us, and as like the offspring, and then, I love this song. This song is called My New Love by Elijah Who, and I just wanted to shout it out because I've had this lo-fi song saved in my library for a long time. Anyway, if you wanna hear it possibly pop up in your shuffle, listen to the playlist and a link in the description below.
Coming up on first, it's Who.
Hi, do you have to be here while I'm talking about this? I don't really remember what my point was, but yeah, I've been working since I was 15, mostly in customer service. Right now I work more of a like back half a house kind of job, and I enjoy it a lot more because I don't have to interact with people, and I can just do. I'm really really good at jobs where you just have to do like kind of the same task for a certain amount of hours. And to do the job I do and get paid what I do is so fortunate just because it's so easy, and I do enjoy it. And I like my coworkers too. I also got a lot of friends. I've had a lot of good work relationships before. I've had a couple different best friends I found through jobs, and I had a few girlfriends that I found through work. And that took way too many times to learn to not do that, to not mix work and romance. IMO. If you and your partner are like entrepreneurs or something and you started a business for yourselves and you're happy doing that, cool, rock on. Mixing work and romance ain't for me. Marcy, what the fuck do you want? Just yelling at me. Oh, the pleasures of having a kitten.
Oh, the misery. Everybody wants to end episode 33, that is.
It says 33, yeah. Dang.
And next time is going to be 34, and that rules. Ho, 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 ho.
All right. So I guess we are officially wrapping up then, because we didn't really say that properly.
Yes, we are wrapping up now. Thank you for listening to episode 33 of Closing Shift. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you will join us again next Friday for episode 34.
Please do, and be sure to support us on Coffee using the link in our link tree, and also you can check out Catnip's new single, Everybody Knows You're High, using the link in the description to go buy their t-shirt. And other than that, go fuck yourself. Goodbye.